Hello everyone, welcome back for another science video. Today we are going to be learning about the kingdoms of Archaea and Bacteria. Fun stuff, guys. Fun stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of things about them. So both Archaea and Bacteria are unicellular. So what this means is that they have DNA, but they have no nucleus. So the DNA is kind of swirled up inside the cell. It kind of looks like a ball of yarn. It's just kind of floating around in there because there's in it. Everything is just being contained inside of the cell. It's kind of like a twofer. You get your cell and you get your DNA all together. So no nucleus. They do have DNA, but there is no nucleus. And they're unicellular. Those are two really important things. So let's start off by looking at our Archaeobacteria. It's a long word. I didn't realize how long that this word was until I actually wrote it, and it fit across the entire top of the page. So let's go ahead and look at a few features of Archaeobacteria. So starting off, they are unicellular. We talked about that on the previous page, but I want to let you guys know again because it's important. You need to know they're unicellular. The second thing about them is that they're prokaryotic. That means what we just talked about. No nucleus, but they do have DNA. They can be heterotrophs or autotrophs. And lastly, they are considered an ancient form of life. We don't even really talk about Archaeobacteria anymore because it's like they're so old and it's just like, we don't really talk about that anymore. But that doesn't mean that they're not actually a thing. So let's talk about these words, heterotroph and autotroph. Those are new words. It's like, Miss Waits, you put that on the screen, but what does that even mean? Like, how do we know? Well, I'll tell you what it means. So the first thing we're going to look at are autotrophs. What in the world are autotrophs? Well, what do we think auto means? Auto means to do by itself, but what is it doing by itself is the question. They are making themselves. So autotrophs make their own food. Now, what else is going to do this? Think, think, think. What else does this? We talked about it. What do you think it is? Plants. Plants do this. So when you think of autotrophs, think of things like plants. They make their own food. They're auto. They do it on their own. So heterotrophs, this word's a little bit more complicated. It's like, Miss Waits, what does this even mean? Like I said, we're going to talk about it, guys. So if autotrophs make their own food, heterotrophs must get their energy from other organisms. So they have to consume other organisms to get their energy. So if we're thinking about what else does this, what do you think does this? I want you to take a look in the mirror because you do this. You're a heterotroph. Humans are heterotrophs. We have to get our energy from other organisms. Otherwise, we can't just go outside and photosynthesize. Well, that would be nice. We cannot do that. Now, let's go ahead and look at eubacteria. It doesn't mean that you are bacteria. It's just called eubacteria. Get it? Okay. I'm being cheesy now. So eubacteria is the bacteria that we're most familiar with. Bacteria, and we think of the stuff that's on our skin or that makes us sick. This is what that is. This is what we know. So let's look at some of these bacteria that we're actually familiar with, or you might not be familiar with, but you will be after you watch this. So the first one we have is Streptococcus pyogenes, and you're like, Miss Waits, come on, please, come on. Well, Streptococcus pyogenes, although the scientific name is long, you guys know what this is. This causes strep throat. And you can definitely see my head popping into the picture. I was getting really into it, guys. I was getting really into this one. And so I'm just kind of trying to picture what it looks like. It looks like these little like circles that are just all like attached in a chain. Super simple, but causes a lot of pain, my goodness. So the second one we have is Staphylococcus aureus. And like I said, the name is long, but the infection is simple. It causes a staph infection. So that is what Staphylococcus aureus causes. And it kind of just looks like a little bunch of grapes. So it's a bunch of circles and they're all just kind of huddled together, hanging out, waiting to infect your skin. And then the last one that I'm going to bring up, because I actually heard a student ask me a question about this last week, is Yersinia pestis. So Yersinia pestis is actually the plague. which is bacterial. Now, since we have antibiotics, we can actually cure the plague, and if you get it, you don't have to die. That does not have to be your fate. So there are good bacteria and there are bad bacteria. But either way, I have a message for you all, because I know that there's times where there's not been soap in the bathroom and y'all have just kind of moved past it and not said nothing. You need to know this. But either way, wash your hands. Even though some's good, some's bad, I don't care. Wash your hands, especially in these times. You guys need to be washing your hands. This is a good lesson to enforce that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the